Welcome to this new comics channel, Comics Bazaar. And for this very first video, I'm going to take you through the best-selling comic book of all time, Marvel Comics X-Men #1, sometimes referred to as X-Men Volume 2 to distinguish it from the 1963 Volume 1 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. This issue was created by Chris Claremont, coming off a 16-year run of comics, writing the adventures of the X-Men and other mutants for Marvel Comics. He started in 1975, and X-Men Volume 2, 1-3 was his swan song. And the artist is Jim Lee, with inker Scott Williams. So this particular comic was released on the 20th of August 1991, and the particular gimmick was that it was released with 4 different covers. This was the first cover here. This was the second cover. So in the first week, this cover was released. The second week, this one. And the third cover is this one with Cyclops and Wolverine. And then the final and fourth cover was with Magneto. Now this one, the fourth and final cover, is the most coveted today. So even though 8.1 million copies were sold, less people have the Magneto cover. And after the 4 different covers were released on that weekly basis, there was a deluxe version released, and that is this comic here on screen. And this one contained no ads. Now the other regular copies were $1.50. This one was more than twice the price, $3.95. But you got a higher class of paper and also no ads, as I said. Now in the deluxe version, you had a gatefold cover here, which I'm just going to unfold. And you see all 4 covers together, forming this one image of the X-Men attacking Magneto. And on screen, you can see the primary X-Men characters: Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Professor X in his new hover wheelchair, Storm in a redesigned costume by Jim Lee, Archangel, Beast, Colossus, Rogue, Psylocke, Gambit, Cyclops, Wolverine, Iceman, and of course there at the end, the antagonist, Magneto. Okay, so I'm going to take you... Oh, one other thing that I want to draw your attention to is how that cover was a homage to the original X-Men #1 cover by Jack Kirby there. So you had the original X-Men attacking Magneto, Angel, Beast, Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Cyclops, and Iceman, and there's Magneto. So Jim Lee developed an homage of that original cover. And indeed, there's a correspondence in the plot between the 2 issues, deliberate on the part of Claremont and Lee, who co-plotted this comic here. In the original 1963 X-Men #1, Magneto plots to and attempts to steal nuclear missiles from a US Army base, and he returns to that idea in this particular comic. He's looking to acquire nuclear missiles, but not this time from a US Army base. So I'm just going to go very quickly through the pages here and the plot. Basically, the comic opens in medias res with 2 sets of 2 groups racing to Asteroid M which is Magneto's home in orbit above the Earth. And Magneto intervenes, and here he is in this glorious 2-page spread. And he tells them that it's his home, that they haven't been invited, and he looks to find out what it is that has brought them there and why they're attacking each other. So the story is entitled Rubicon, in a reference to Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon in 49 BC, marching on Rome and having himself installed as dictator of Rome. As I said before, the issue is created primarily by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee, but we also have Scott Williams inking, Tom Orzechowski as letterer, Joe Rosas colorist. So the most important elements of the creative team there. So what happens then is that Nick Fury, the head of the Marvel Universe spy agency S.H.I.E.L.D., is in briefing the president, who in 1991 was George H.W. Bush, depicted here by Jim Lee, little caricature of Bush there. And the Russians and the US are worried about Magneto and what his intentions are in relation to the planet. So the scene cuts to the X-Men at the X-Mansion in Westchester, upstate New York. And between the exposition and the characters' dialogue, any first-time readers learn the names of the characters and their powers. So we have here Cyclops, we have Rogue, Iceman, Colossus in his non-metal form, Archangel, Beast, Storm, Forge, and Banshee, Sean Cassidy. And what's happening is there's an exercise testing the defense systems of the mansion, and the two teams of X-Men, they're divided into blue and gold teams, are tasked with finding and tagging Professor X. So here he is with Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, who is protecting him somewhere on the grounds of the mansion. And we see here missile system going off, shooting at Rogue and Iceman. Iceman's sled is destroyed, but Rogue evades the missiles. And something to note here is a very interesting and delightful even strategy of Jim Lee throughout this double-sized issue, which is he has an anchor image on every single page. So here Professor X, Jean Grey, here's Rogue. On this page you can see it's Archangel releasing Colossus, who crashes through one of the windows into the mansion, into a room in which he believes he has found and is about to tag or try to tag Professor X. And here on this page we have Wolverine with members of the blue team, Psylocke and Gambit, coming beneath the mansion in the sewage system. And there they are, attacked by some of the mansion's defense systems, these battle droids. And anchor image here with Wolverine destroying those droids and Psylocke 2. Another anchor image over here with Gambit attacking Jean Grey. And then, because Gambit is a bit of a charming rogue, kissing Jean Grey, but it turns out that it's not the true Jean, rather it is a decoy robot that explodes. But who is it that ultimately finds Professor X? It's Wolverine, whose senses, his sense of smell in particular, isn't fooled by robot duplicates, and he busts his way using his adamantium claws through the floor of the control room and tags Professor X with his claws, which sends Cyclops apoplectic, because he's worried one slip just now that Wolverine might have injured the professor. but Wolverine tells him to relax, that he is the best there is at what he does. And then what we have is Nick Fury turning up again, briefing the X-Men on the situation with Magneto on Asteroid M, and asking them to get involved and talk with Magneto. Then the scene switches back to Asteroid M, where the two groups are fighting each other, and Magneto comes in upon them fighting, and one of them attacks and murders one of the mutant visitors to Asteroid M. Magneto is shocked, angry. He uses his powers, his mutant powers, his control of the forces of magnetism to take control of the battlesuit of the murderer, and has the battlesuit shoot the murderer. Then this character, Fabian Cortez, who becomes important, talks to Magneto about the situation on Earth, the fact that Magneto, as a powerful mutant, has a duty to intervene and protect and help mutants on the planet below. Then we see the X-Men scrambling here, another great anchor image with the Beast, Wolverine, Psylocke and Gambit. And here they are getting aboard their SR-72 Blackbird stealth plane, which is going to bring them out to where Magneto has raised an old Soviet submarine from the bottom of the mid-Atlantic Ocean. What he's after is the nuclear missiles that are still on board the submarine. The X-Men arrive, and initially they tried to talk to him, but it's a distraction tactic, and while he's distracted, Beast and Gambit jump out of the Blackbird to attack him, but Magneto defends himself, and all of the X-Men take a turn in attacking Magneto. He is punched through the hull of the submarine by one of Cyclops' optic blasts, and he finds himself in a shocking situation where it was he himself who sank the Soviet submarine years ago, and never thought about the sailors on board. And there he is, facing up to the deaths he caused. But he recovers himself, and he leaves, bringing the missiles with him. Rogue goes after him to talk to him, but Soviet air defenses are scrambled, jet fighters are in pursuit, and as Rogue is talking to Magneto, one of those Soviet jet fighters releases its missiles, which catch Rogue. Now Rogue, one of her powers is invulnerability, but she's injured nonetheless. Magneto is horrified, and he sets off one of the nuclear missiles in order to take out the threat of the Soviet jet fighters. So the X-Men are shocked by that, and of course they're worried about what's become of Rogue. Meanwhile, the scene switches to Asteroid M again. Magneto's injured, in particular from Wolverine's adamantium claws. Fabian Cortez helps heal him, it's one of his powers, but also talks once more about becoming more involved in the affairs on Earth. So the X-Men go in search of Rogue, who happens to have fallen and landed on an island, a fictional island, Genosha. This island in Marvel Comics mythos, and X-Men mythos in particular, was a type of equivalent of apartheid South Africa, but the prejudice and enslavement was of mutants. But in recent continuity, it had been liberated. So Rogue comes to on the island, and then Fabian Cortez, in new costumes, leads the group of mutants from Asteroid M. They call themselves the Acolytes, and they're looking to recruit Rogue to the cause. But she refuses, fights them off, and then the X-Men have located her and arrive to help her. So then the X-Men fight the Acolytes, and then there comes the twist and cliffhanger at the end of the issue, which is Magneto's arrival in this 2-page spread. So that's setting us up for yet another battle between the X-Men Blue Team and Magneto in issue number 2. And also there is this intriguing second cliffhanger with Moira McTaggart, who says in the final panel of the issue, "This terrible thing that's happening, Banshee, it's all my fault." So you're going to have to buy the second issue to find out what happens in the fight between Magneto and the X-Men and what it is that Moira is referring to. So in this special deluxe edition, you have also the posters that were included individually in the different regular covered versions. So each regular cover version had one of these posters, but not all of them. So this one is a villains gallery featuring some of the most prominent villains of X-Men history. Juggernaut, for example, Sabretooth, Mr. Sinister. There's Apocalypse back there and others. In this poster here, we have the original X-Men team. So we've got Angel, Iceman, Beast, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, and Professor X, of course. In this poster, we have the X-Men relaxing around the X-Mansion's swimming pool. So in their civilian clothes. And in this intriguing double-page spread, we have a depiction of things to come. So these were hints about upcoming storylines in the title and characters that were slated to appear. The Brood, Longshot, this big guy here, Omega Red, and back there, Ghost Rider, all of whom did appear in subsequent issues of X-Men after Claremont left. And then, very intriguing, at the end of the comic we have Jim Lee's some drawings from Jim Lee's sketchbook. Jim Lee had a 3-month lead-in to creating this double-sized issue, and part of what he was doing was redesigning costumes for the main characters. So we've the redesign of Cyclops' costume here. We've got Professor X in his hover chair, Rogue's new costume, and then we have a variety of designs for this new character, Omega Red, and we have the design of Fabian Cortez's uniform, their Acolyte uniform. And here at the very end of this deluxe version, we have the cover for issue number 2. And one last thing, there is another, on the inside of the gatefold cover, there is another gatefold image, and that is of all the mutants on the various X teams and X titles in 1991. So we've got characters there from X-Force, from X-Factor, Excalibur, and the 2 mutant X-Men teams, X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold. Very nice. Okay, so something else I want to show you is a special 20th anniversary edition of the deluxe comic that I've just gone through with you. And this was published in 2011. And what's interesting about this one is it is a recolored, in the modern style, version of the comic, entirely recolored, covers recolored, that inside gatefold recovered also. And I'll just show you a few images here. So this is the opening 2-page spread with Magneto, and the particular colorist is Thomas Mason, responsible for this recoloring of X-Men number 1. Just another couple of pages to show you. Here is this shot, amazing shot by Jim Lee of Magneto, and the modern coloring really shows the uplighting of Magneto in that particular headshot. And then one last thing that I've held over for the end of the video is what became of my third individual cover for the comic, and this is it here. So I hope you can see that. I had a presentation case made for these two items. Number one there is the Cyclops and Wolverine cover of the X-Men, but you'll note I got it signed by Claremont and Jim Lee. And over here, and I'll try and align this so you can see as much of it as possible, is a headshot that I got of Magneto by Jim Lee about 15 years ago. He was here in Dublin at a comics convention, so I was very lucky to get a sketch of an excellent sketch of Magneto. So there you go. That is X-Men #1, the best-selling comic of all time, 8.1 million copies. I hope you enjoyed the video, this inaugural video of my new comics channel, Comics Bazaar. If you did so, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.